Horror movies have established themselves as one of the more popular genres in all of television. Oftentimes, the horror villains themselves are the most memorable parts of the movies. These can range from demons and supernatural terrors to just some bad guys who are out for a little bit of bloodlust. Today we're going to take a look at some of the most popular horror villains of all time and rank them based on their powers and abilities. See where your favorite villain appears on this episode of Tier Masters. Hey everybody, welcome back to Tier Masters. It's been a minute, but I'm super excited for this new video that I've put together. Today we're going to be power scaling and power ranking horror movie villains. We're going to take into account not only their powers, but also how easy or difficult it was for everyone to evade them. So let's go ahead and jump right into the video. At first glance, for some who may have not watched too many of the Friday the 13th movies, Jason may appear to be very weak. However, he's very durable, and although it's not officially mentioned, he can basically teleport. It's pretty much impossible to kill this guy, and although it's easy to outrun him, sooner or later he's going to catch up to you. So to start things off, I'm going to put Jason in the S tier. Next up, we've got Freddy Krueger. I wouldn't quite consider him as powerful as Jason, but Freddy's got some incredible abilities. He can attack people while they're dreaming, he can mess with their mind. Really, the only downfall we can see with Freddy is that he really operates on fear, and if no one really knows him or is afraid of him, he can't really do anything. So because of that main weakness, I might put him a step below an A. Leatherface is pretty straightforward. He's got a chainsaw, he's mean. He really is not mentally stable, but there's not too much that's special going on, so I'd put him in D tier. Ghostface, again, doesn't have too much going on. He's undoubtedly smarter than Leatherface, although he often intentionally gives his victims kind of time to maneuver or try to escape just to play with them, so he kind of makes things harder on himself. So he's a little bit stronger than Leatherface, but I think I'm also going to put him in D tier. Michael Myers is incredibly strong and durable. He's kind of like Jason with not as many supernatural abilities, although he still can kind of move around quickly, which makes you kind of think he might be able to teleport. He's really a terrifying sight and hard to escape, but he's a straightforward slasher that's just relentless. So I'm going to put him solidly in B tier because he is super strong and relentless, although he doesn't have a whole lot of supernatural stuff working on his side. Pinhead is an incredibly powerful character. It's extremely hard to damage him or even try to kill him. And he's got some really powerful supernatural abilities up his sleeve, so I think he goes in S tier. Samara's kind of a one-trick pony, and it is supernatural, so things tend to work her way, but I wouldn't just consider her this overpowering figure, so she goes in C tier. The main thing Hannibal has on his side is his incredible intelligence and memory level. Ultimately, his downfall is his ego, but kind of weighing everything he's been able to do, he's going to end up in B tier. Jigsaw's got a mind like no other, and of all these kind of sociopathic serial killers that like to trap people and put them through mazes, he's unquestionably the smartest. Again, he's got nothing supernatural or invincible about him that's going on, so considering his capabilities but lack of supernatural powers, he's also going to go in B tier. I wouldn't say Norman Bates has too much that's special going on about him, so he's going in F. Again, the same with Jack. He's just really an angry dude that's trying to kill people, and it would be like if any normal person on the street just decided to do that. He doesn't have much that's special going on with him, so he's also an F tier. So the demon from The Exorcist possesses some incredibly powerful abilities, which really makes it difficult to try and get rid of and puts everyone's life in jeopardy. It has a really diverse skill set, so I think that puts it in S tier. I would consider Chucky somewhat the John Wick of slashers. Despite his build and frame, he's really got good physical abilities, and he can handle a variety of weapons. He's definitely not the strongest on this list, but he's capable enough to put himself solidly in B tier. Pennywise is another villain that's got a ton of diverse supernatural capabilities. He can seem to warp people's perception of reality and alter visual and mental effects on people. The biggest thing that would go against him is that he lost to a bunch of kids, but besides that, he really is a being to be reckoned with. So he's going to go in A tier. So when summoned, the Candyman is really strong, but the problem is he can be very easily avoided. And although he'd be incredibly difficult to even try and escape if you did summon him, he's also very easy to just not deal with. Those are kind of some two extreme sides, but if we're weighing both of those into account, he's going to go in C tier. Jeepers Creepers is kind of literally and figuratively Batman. While he is kind of like this man-bat hybrid figure, he has a really diverse arsenal, coupled with some stealth and supernatural abilities. Probably the easiest thing in avoiding him altogether is that you really only have to deal with him every 23 years or so. But I feel like he's probably one of the more underrated villains. He's also another one that thrives on fear, so if you're just altogether not scared of him, he can't necessarily do a whole lot to you, or he'll at least get to you last. So really, just to sum all that up, I think he's going in B tier. So the Xenomorph is an intimidating and powerful creature that's very intelligent and has tons of physical capabilities. The alien is going in S tier. The Blair Witch does a ton of psychological damage to her victims. She can really torment them and change memories, alter reality, things of that such. While plenty of people make fun of the movie, she's really a fearsome foe, and she would easily make it in the A tier here. Pamela Voorhees is going straight to F tier. She's just kind of like the other guys in there. A little crazy, just a person out for some blood, nothing special. Victor Crowley is really tough. He kills people in gruesome ways. He's a huge and intimidating figure, and this dude just does not die. Like, it's really hard to kill him. I kind of see him weaker than Jason, but stronger than Michael Myers, so I'm going to put him in A tier. The Predator, just like Xenomorph, is an incredibly intelligent being that has tons of gadgets and powers and physical capabilities up his sleeve, so he's easily an S tier here. I really feel like the boy from The Grudge has really got nothing special going on. Probably just going to put him in F tier, to be honest. So Carrie's got some vicious telekinetic abilities and wanted the average person that's extremely dangerous. She's also not as complicated and threatening as some of these other horror characters out here. So I think she's going to go in D tier. As we see in the movies, if you catch the Collector off guard, he's really just a regular dude, and it's kind of easy to take care of things, but the problem is he's so well prepared, and he's just laid out so many traps that it's ridiculous. Like, the dude actually puts hundreds of traps all over the place, and there's no telling what you might touch that would kill you. If he's had some time in advance to prepare things, you'd best be ready to die, and he's going to go in B tier. I feel like Bughuul's very straightforward, and compared to a lot of these other demons and pagan entities, he's really pretty weak. He's kind of another one-trick pony, and I think that's kind of the theme of our C tier so far, so that's where he's going. So the demon from Insidious, he's kind of a bare-bones demon that they have to deal with. He does have some abilities, but he kind of loses in a surprisingly straightforward manner and relatively easy compared to some of these other things. I'm not too impressed by him, so I'll put him in C tier. You know, I was thinking about putting the Leprechaun low on this list, but then I thought about it. The dude's got a bloodlust and ambition, and couple that with all the powers that he has, and he's probably more powerful than most of the villains up here. It would just be very hard to know what to do if you're having to deal with him, so I'm going to stick him in A tier. Annabelle is shown through all the movies to be incredibly powerful. Probably the biggest upside of that power is the way that the demon can act as a conduit and channel more demons into the world. So really, if you're dealing with Annabelle, you're going to have to deal with tons of other things. It's considered one of the more sadistic demons of all time, really. So Annabelle goes in S tier. Roy Burns is, again, another one of those dudes that's just out to kill. Although the only thing he has over everyone else is he's somewhat powerful and durable enough to kind of confuse people as Jason for a little while. So given the fact that he can sort of pass as a copycat Jason, I'm going to give it to him. So he's going to go a step up from those other killers into the D tier. We see Valak be pretty powerful a couple of times, although the mention of her name weakens her and other biblical powers can be used against her. I think actually what I'm going to do before I rank her is I'm going to move the Collector down to C tier. I feel like he's probably just a little bit weaker than those other ones, and I'm actually going to put Valak in the B tier. So what I find interesting about this list is the D and F tiers are probably the only ones you would stand a chance of surviving if you ran into them. Maybe a couple of the C tiers. But one of the cool things about doing this list is you really get to see how powerful these things are and how little of a chance you would stand if you were there. With all that said, that's going to do it for our video. I want to hear who you guys think is one of the most powerful or the most powerful villain in all of horror movies, and maybe some other characters that weren't included in this list. And I'll catch you in the next one.